It was Danny's wish, and he made it quite clear to us just 2 weeks before he died that he wanted to be an organ donor. It does help knowing that because he's gone, somebody else can live and they don't have to go through this grief period. They can enjoy some life and share it with their families.
Every day is so meaningful for me because I just think back and realize that I might not have been able to enjoy this day.
We know that by the year 2010, which is relatively close, that 1 out of 20 of us will be in need of some type of transplant. And it is an absolute fact that every time we lose a donation, at least one person dies.
I'm all too happy to have a paramedic show up on scene when I'm dealing with a first aid or emergency medical problem that I know I'm not trained to handle. I don't have the equipment to handle, and I'd be more than happy to hand that over to a paramedic.
You have to be aggressive enough to say to them, this is all I need to do, just let me do what I need to do, and I'll be out of your way. It's real simple.
Communication is of utmost importance here. I think a lot of times it's not what is said, but how it is said. And I think right off the bat that can create an easier situation or put more stress on the situation.
We have a great rapport with our police department. We're very fortunate. We're very fortunate in Cranberry Township that we do have as great a police department as we do. They are our helpers. They are our mediators on this scene. And they protect us on the scene. If there's something going on around us, they're protecting us from being hurt. And in the same respect, we're going to be the ones that are there if they need us. The hardest part of the job is when brain death actually has occurred, or we suspect brain death, because we can't tell. We don't have the equipment to test for that. It's very hard to let a patient go because you're there to help a patient. And there's just times when someone's too ill or too injured to help. And that's hard to face.
There are times when a lethal or potentially lethal injury might be identified, but that doesn't change what your steps should be. Your steps are designed to try and save that patient's life. A secondary goal is to try and provide the option for organ donation. And that would be the only thing that I would ask the paramedics to do, would be to make sure that the family gets to the trauma centers as quickly as possible, or to the hospital as quickly as possible, and they bring as much documentation with them as they can. If an organ donor card or a living will or a durable power of attorney is available, they should bring whatever information they have. Families understand that severe injuries have occurred, but what you want to communicate is the chance of survival. And if that chance of survival isn't going to exist, then you want to make sure that the chance for donation isn't compromised by things that are said at the scene.
I think the role of the paramedic, however, in this process is they certainly can't determine whether somebody's a suitable candidate or not for donation, but they're in a position to preserve the right of someone, whether it be myself as an accident victim or my family's right to decide whether or not I'm going to be a donor if it ultimately comes to that. To get that patient to a hospital and allow that process to be carried out, as opposed to maybe making a decision at the home or at a scene that there's no hope for this patient, we shouldn't treat this patient. You are, in a sense, depriving that patient and that patient's family the right to donate, which may be the one positive thing that they can get out of the tragedy. Donation can add some hope that even though they lost their loved one, there are others living, and that can be a very powerful thing for people to remember.
Paramedics are part of the professional team of healthcare providers, and every interaction that you have has an impact on what that family sees and helps them make a decision. Everybody needs to have that same idea in mind, that the first goal is to save the patient. A secondary goal should be to consider the possibility of organ donation. So treatment must be aggressive, in either case, to either save the patient or to provide the opportunity for donation.
Seeing transplant recipients go from literally death's door to being productive people again, it really is miraculous. And to be a part of that miracle, which is really what EMS personnel and policemen do when they get involved in this process, I don't know of anything more important or special that they can do in life.
That makes me feel wonderful to know that one person, the patient, could help so many people. It amazes me how many people can be helped from one person, and family members that are that generous to donate that person's organs. It makes me feel good that I played some part in that, some small role in trying to keep those organs viable, that they could be used.
Danny lives on, yes. And I'm very happy that they were able to get him to the hospital and take good care of him, because that was Danny's wish. They were able to pull him out of there and get him taken care of. If he had been caught in the car and they wouldn't have been able to save him, he'd have still died without getting to donate what he wanted to do.
I want you to know that your efforts are very much appreciated. They were so important in my life. I mean, if it weren't for your efforts, I wouldn't be here.